Brother Rokk here. Welcome to my channel. Today, let's talk about the cats and dogs left behind in Afghanistan. If you've been watching the news, I know you know what's going on. Let me get this back here where it's easier for me to see. And I apologize for my dear Tabby Boy and Cassie. You know they don't play well with others. But, oops. Well, I'm having everything fall down here. Yeah, the situation is really dire in Afghanistan, and not all the animals have been able to get out. I'm going to read to you a statement called from one of the organizations. I slightly edited for brevity. Dozens of U.S. military working dogs, numerous animal companions belonging to evacuated Americans, more than 100 dogs previously rescued from the streets of Afghanistan, along with an unknown number of rescued cats and humans caring for those animals, were left behind in Afghanistan after the last U.S. plane left Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. A now viral photograph depicts dogs inside carriers in front of a demilitarized helicopter awaiting an unknown fate. Gee, I wonder what that is. Red tape and catastrophes have stopped every attempt to secure flights out for these animals and their caretakers. Some cats and staff are safe for the time being, but many dogs, including a pug of an American embassy worker, may have been let loose on airport grounds. So this is beyond disgusting that this is going on. There are people that have paid for flights, charter flights, to get these animals out of here. The international ASPCA chartered a flight to get cats and dogs out. I don't know if it was turned back when it got there or what, but they were not able to rescue the animals. I understand that one of the snafus involves Centers for Disease Control that is concerned about dogs bringing rabies back. And there are certain countries that have a higher prevalence of rabies, and one of those is Afghanistan. Now, I have been following this extremely closely because I'm a member of the cat rescue community. And from what I understand, one of the organizations, Kabul Small Animal Rescue, it's led by a female veterinarian by the name of Charlotte. She is being guarded by the Taliban in her home residence, along with the cats. And we all know that women don't fare well with the Taliban. From what I understand of Islam, and I'm hardly a scholar, they hold a dimmer view of dogs than they do cats. They consider dogs to be unclean. But apparently in the Hadith, if I'm pronouncing it right, the legend has it that Muhammad had a cat sleeping on his robe, and he didn't want to disturb the cat, so he cut off the robe to not disturb the cat. So that indicates to me that cats might fare a little bit better than dogs do. But the whole idea that animals belonging to the people that love them were not allowed to even be in the cargo space of airplanes, and so many people have still been left behind there. All you have to do is go on the State Department website and the State Department's Facebook page to see all these desperate people posting, giving their phone numbers and their email addresses, saying that they have been left behind and they don't know how to get out of there. All these desperate people. Our government can't be that tone deaf that they don't know that the world is watching. Dogs, so many reports that dogs were let loose from their carriers and they're now on the streets. If they're lucky, some food was left behind. A lot of these were dogs that belonged to volunteers, belonged to interpreters, belonged to some of the employees, some of the people who did manage to get out. Why they weren't allowed to bring their animals with them as they were leaving, I don't understand. I don't understand the logistics of this. I mean, it seems to me that rules can be bent in extraordinary, desperate circumstances, and if this evacuation is not an extraordinary and dangerous and desperate circumstance, I don't know what it is. There was another rescue organization that was able to successfully get some dogs and cats out, and they went to the United Kingdom, I believe. But still, now Charlotte, the lady that owns the Kabul Small Animal Rescue, she decided to stay behind to look after the animals so that somebody would stay and take care of them. But to have a female doing that when women are so very much in danger there, you could already see that the Taliban decided to stop the co-ed education. They're putting their foot down. They've been going door to door in houses, taking away women and girls to be used as sex slaves for the Taliban fighters. Women have absolutely no rights there, especially with the Taliban. And all these animals that were belonged to people that were pets and were taken off the streets and were given veterinary care and stuff, they are stuck there. I hate to think of what's going to happen with the dogs. If you have a creature that's considered unclean, and if they're animals that they knew were taken care of by Americans, I hate to think of how they're going to be treated. And if you take animals that have never been on the street before and just leave them outside to fend for themselves, a lot of them don't have the, not street smarts, but the ability to really take care of themselves because they're used to being fed and everything. And depending on where they are and how they're treated by the people that are left behind that are around, their fate is in peril. So many animal organizations have been sending out petitions and press releases. My Hotmail has gotten so many emails from organizations like PETA and American Humane and just any animal organization you can think of. The world is watching. I don't know how our government thinks that this is okay. Certainly, there are people, even in the upper echelons of the military, that are pet lovers. There is no excuse for this. There is no reason for what is going on there. It is just disgusting. Every day, the situation gets more and more dire. Now, today is the 31st of August, the day that everybody's supposed to be out of there. And the whole idea that a time frame would actually be given publicly so that our enemies know when we're leaving, so that they were able to rush right in. You saw how fast the Taliban did not waste any time. They rushed right in. And the fact that we left behind billions of dollars worth of military equipment, just gave it to them. And all this biometric information so that they could go hunting down the interpreters and the people that help the American forces. You know what's going to happen when they catch them. I can't imagine how low America's standing is in the world now, and it's, I'm sure, not going to be reflected on how the world thinks of the American people, but certainly how the world views President Biden and the top military brass. And if any of the military people dare to speak out about it, some of them are being fired. Can you say Coverup here? Every day the news gets worse and worse and worse. And it's hit the animal rescue community extremely hard, as you can imagine. This is something that I would expect to watch in a thriller movie. This is not something that I would expect to be alive to see that's actually going on. And if you're looking at the calendar, what's going on in 2 weeks? The anniversary of 9/11, the 20th anniversary. How do you think our enemies are going to celebrate it? We're obviously showing our weakness since the Biden administration took office. I mean, we have so much of our cutting-edge military equipment that's in enemy hands now that if the Taliban don't know what to do with it, they'll probably sell it to the Russians or the Iranians or some other countries who are more sophisticated with electronics and things. China would love to have military aircraft like that. Russia would love to have military aircraft like that. I have never in my lifetime seen such an abject giving up of powers to the absolute worst people. And the Taliban, you don't see much as bad as the Taliban as far as terrorist regimes are. And we're just giving up these things. What happened to the American military might? What the hell is going to happen to the animals? Now, we have had private citizens here in the United States who have means that have chartered flights to get people out, and that's a good thing. Glenn Beck getting hundreds of Christians out of there, and obviously Christians and religious minorities are in very grave peril. But it would take an awful lot of rich people and an awful lot of planes to get the animals out, and the LGBTQ people, and the atheists, and the Hindus, and the Sikhs, and what other religious minorities are there. The situation is very dire. You can sign all the petitions you want. You can call your congressmen and your senators, and I think whitehouse.org or gov might have a petition portal. They did when Trump was in office. Whether you sign these things are going to do any good is anybody's guess. But the world needs to put pressure on the powers that be. This has to stop. Nothing good has ever been accomplished by people standing around and doing nothing. And if you think one person can't make a difference, all these one people become millions and millions and millions of people. To all of you who are listening to me right now and watching me, if you haven't done something yet, please speak up. Contact your representatives. Write them, make phone calls. Get on YouTube yourself. If you've never been on YouTube before, anybody with a camera of some kind can get on YouTube. It's free. Make your own videos. Use your voice. Use whatever influence you have. Put the pressure up on our president or whoever is actually in control. Something tells me that it's somebody else. It could be Barack Obama. It could be other higher ups within the Democratic Party. I don't know. I'm not privy to such things. This is a low that I didn't even think he was capable of. But we have to do something. These animals being left to fend for themselves, being left with women in charge that I hope to God nothing happens to them. But there's nothing that you or I can do about it. Even donating a bunch of money, and money is something I really don't have. But something needs to be done. Write letters to the editor of your papers. Good luck in getting them published. Not that I know that would do any good. Everything that I can think of, short of actually chartering flights and getting down there. And once you do that, who's to say they're even going to let you land in that Kabul airport? From what I understand, there are short of air traffic controllers there, and that would obviously be an issue. Plus, they don't have the security to prevent people with rocket launchers from shooting planes down. That's another thing you have to think about. And now that we've given away all these billions of dollars of military equipment, there is no security to protect flights coming in that would rescue. And considering that you've got all these Taliban running around with these rocket launchers, and I wish I could give some kind of easy answer. If I knew the answers, I would be working in government and I was doing something about it, and you wouldn't see me here on this platform. I feel just as powerless as I'm sure the rest of you do. Something desperately needs to be done. And I think that the more the American public and the public all around the world knows what's going on, maybe that kind of pressure and that kind of publicity can bend the ears of those who do have the money and the influence. Maybe organizations like the Red Cross and the Red Crescent, organizations like Amnesty International. People have to step up. People have to do something. People within the Muslim community, I'm sure most of them don't like what's going on there. Maybe they will have greater influence than people outside that religion. Somebody has to do something. Something has to be done. We, America, are totally losing control, gave up control. Even if the idea of getting out of Afghanistan was a good idea, maybe it should have been done some years ago. the way they pulled out was the most stupid, cockamamie, bullshit way. Any school child would have a better way of doing it than do that. Having the military leave first while they're American citizens and animals and the people that were loyal to our government. All you have to do is go on the State Department website and see the people desperate to be rescued that don't know how to get out. A lot of those people don't have means to get, even with cars and whatever transportation things they have available, to other countries to get the hell out of there. So many desperate people and those animals. This is disgusting. I don't know how many wake-up calls we need. What the world is going to, we have this pandemic going on, now this. I hate to think of how much worse it can get. It's just, something needs to be done. All those animals, it's sickening. And the people whose pets were left behind, imagine how they feel. The rescue community is just in dire straits right now. Just speaking with the ones that I am in communication with here in the United States. But the world is watching. President Joe Biden, look in my eyes. You have blood on your hands. Upper military brass, like Lincoln, you have blood on your hands. Something needs to be done. The world is watching. There's nothing else for me to say tonight. I'd like to have good news sometimes, but tonight's not the night for good news. Tonight's the night for the public to put the pressure on the powers that be via any peaceful means necessary. Oh, where's the Animal Liberation Front? You guys don't necessarily rely on being peaceful. Will you do something? Maybe some of you are watching. It's time to do something about this. With that, my name is Leathur Rokk. I stand by what I have to say. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, please do subscribe. And if you do, hit the bell so it looks like it's ringing. That way you won't miss anything I post. Maybe the next time I do one of these videos, it'll be on a happier subject. But let's step up for the animals and the people left behind in Afghanistan. The world is watching. Talk to you in a couple of days. Be safe. Bye.